Good evening. It is Monday, November 12th, 2018. I call the first meeting of November to order. My name is Jeff Matthews. I am the Town Council President. I'd like to welcome those also joining me this evening. Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
Councilor Jason Delisle.
Good evening.
Vice President David Lindsay.
Good evening.
Councilor Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
Town Manager Jacob Blasdel.
Good evening.
Clerk Treasurer Monty Combs.
Good evening.
And our Town Attorney Bob Clutter.
Evening.
Our agenda has been posted, and we will be following that this evening. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 2 is the approval of the council minutes dated October 22nd, 2018. Those have been distributed. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, those will be approved. Item number 3, proclamation for the Speedway Public Library to honor the 50 years of service to our town.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the proclamation for the Speedway Public Library as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proclamation for the Speedway Public Library. Any questions or comments from the audience? Any from council?
Just to mention that they're having probably going to take some of these report away from them.
Thank you.
But they're having a celebration this Saturday, and you, Mr. President, will be presenting this?
I will be indeed, if
right.
this passes.
Oh, good. Very good point, Mr.
Yes.
President.
That will be at 2 o'clock Saturday, November 17th, at the Public Library. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the proclamation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 5-0. Item number 4, approval of claims and utility adjustments. Monty?
Thank you, Mr. President. We submitted to you the claims for the period of, I better get the right words, from October the 20th through November the 9th. And you have those, and I would appreciate approval.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the claims as presented by the Clerk Treasurer.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims as presented by our Clerk Treasurer. Are there any comments from the audience? Any from council? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 5-0. Monty, we see that there are no utility adjustments. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Do you have anything else good of the order?
All my friends from the State Board of Accounts are here doing our audit for 2017, and we're just having a blast. So, thank you.
The enjoyment is overwhelming. I
Oh,
can
it's
see.
incredible.
Thanks, Monty.
Thank you.
Next up, reports from our department supervisors. First up, Economic Development, Tim Gropp.
Good evening, Council. Several updates for you this evening. First, I'd like to share is we are getting close to the demolition of several buildings in the 1300 block. The Redevelopment Commission will be taking down the former Art Center as well as the storage building kind of behind where the gas station used to be, and then the developer in that block is planning on taking down Ted's Beauty Shop at the same time. We have done most of the work to get that done. We thought that was going to start this week. However, it looks like just due to some disconnects that we're still waiting on, termination notices, it's probably going to be the week after Thanksgiving now. So those buildings, in the meantime, we have offered those up, and the fire department will be doing some training in that block. So we're excited to be able to provide them some space to do that. So we just want to let everybody know if you see fire apparatus in that block and they're doing different things, there's no emergency there. It's just a unique opportunity for them to utilize some real buildings in their training, and we're happy to provide that for them. So look to the end of the month then for demolition to start. The Economic Development Strategic Plan We have a kickoff meeting December 3rd with the group that's going to guide that. They're currently already doing some of the research and data collection in that. We're kind of doing some of that now since it's holiday season, and then in the new year, we'll engage the community more, so we'll have a lot of the data in place, and then we'll be able to actually get to the public input sessions and have everybody engage in the community. We're looking forward to that process. We're looking forward to kick that off. Again, our steering committee is December 3rd for our first meeting. The Economic Development Agreement has been signed on 2500 High School Road. This is really the first step in a longer process. However, the developer, HG Rebar Speedway LLC, I think I got that right, Bob? Has already started having conversations. We've already engaged Circle K on their properties and their future plans, and they're already talking to prospects and doing the due diligence. We have about a 6-month due diligence time where we kind of put the pieces together, make sure the numbers work, make sure the tenants are there and interested before we have to sign off on the final documents. That sounds like a long time, but it'll go really quick. So they've engaged the engineers, and they're working on all that process now. From the EDA, we will be working on the next documents, which are really the meat of it, which are the declarations and covenants, the funding agreement, and the purchase agreement. So we got a lot of work to do. Those will have to be put together in the next 45 days. So we'll have more updates on that as it keeps moving along. And then on the Wilshaw, they're slightly behind. Right now, they're supposed to be working on the parking lot and the brickwork. They've had a little bit of delay due to weather here recently. So they're working to get it back on target, and I think they'll be fine. They don't have any concerns about it. Just let us know they're about a week behind, and they'll get caught up as soon as they can, although we're talking snow tonight, so we'll see how that goes. To let everybody know, the apartment website is now live. WilshawApartments.com, so you can see pictures of the interior, pricing, amenities, things like that. So we've had a lot of inquiries on that, and just want to let everybody know they can go take a look now, and they'll be reaching out to people that were on the wait list as well to start engaging them about leasing. And then on the hotel side, the geo piers have been put in place, which stabilize the foundation. We're waiting on some numbers back from a new contractor. As soon as we have those, we hope to move forward with the final financing and still get that going, hopefully by the end of the year, if possible. Any questions?
Have you gotten any feedback yet from Wilcox as far as Wilshaw, regarding the apartments? Have they already pre-leased them out?
Well, if you look at the website, actually says they're not pre-leasing till 2019,
Okay.
early 2019. So I think they're getting the information. Everyone's been asking the information. They've been taking names to this point on a waiting list, and so they're starting to push that information out, and this will hopefully start getting some calls in, but I haven't heard anything yet. The website just went live late last week as far as if they're actually signing leases yet or not, but there's been a lot of inquiry, but now that everything's up and running, we'll see who has interest and does not. So. But we'll keep you posted. I'll definitely keep in contact with them and see how leasing's going as we get closer to the opening date.
Great. Thanks. Any other questions?
All right.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Next up, Police Chief Jim Campbell.
Good evening. October 21st and 22nd, we made a transition countywide to a new computer-aided dispatch system. It's replacing a system that was 20 years old, and I think the hope is that the new system is going to improve our entire communications process. Eventually, it will include new radios and a new reporting system. We have a Citizens Academy graduation tomorrow evening at 6:30. We'll have about 18 new graduates that make that class 9. So, it's been a great asset to the department. Lastly, October 20th, we had Shred It. We raised $4,664. There were 397 vehicles that went through Shred It. This is the one it's kind of down from the one earlier in the year, but, for one, it was spring or fall break, and, I'm sure some of those things impacted. But our volunteers, the VIPs, and, our alumni folks made it possible that we had a police presence. And again, it's just an opportunity to get rid of things that shouldn't be put in the trash. So Norm's not here, so I'm not going to tell you about the drug benefit to it.
Thanks, Chief. Next up, Fire Chief Bob Fishburn.
Good evening. Just a couple things. First, I want to piggyback on what Tim said and thank redevelopment for the buildings on Main. It's always nice for our guys not to go to the tower or crawl around our bay floor when they can get an actual building that they can go in and train and tear up and do the things that, you can't just do every day. So we really appreciate redevelopment giving us that building to do that in. Speaking of training, with the new hotels and the Wilshaw project and the soon-to-be other hotel down on Main, we have been in the process of putting all 3 shifts through high-rise training. We've been doing that with IFD. You think high-rise training is just skyscrapers. It's really not. Any building that's 3 or 4 stories, you have some special things that you need to do as far as that training. So today, actually, B shift went with 2 companies from IFD over to Wayne Township's tower, and all 3 departments trained together on, hooking up, getting your waterway. What if your standpipe doesn't work? You can use your stick as a waterway. So we're starting to kind of get trained for some of those new high-rises that'll be into town. We already had high-rise training, but to have high-rise training with no high-rises other than the pagoda, which no one really lives in, this is residences and buildings that, people. So, we've been trying to do that more. And then with the weather turning cold, I want to remind people to make sure they're getting their furnace serviced. We get a lot of smoke odor runs, and it's because there's dust on your burners or filter hasn't been changed, and you're starting to have your furnace on much more frequently. So just remind people to do that. And lastly, I want to thank all the veterans who have served, both that work in the town and in the community, but I especially want to recognize the 3 veterans that are on my department: Battalion Chief Mike Cheney, Engineer Michael Bowe, and Private Jim Bowes. Saw a special today about a newly elected congressman, and he said he has a lot of people who come up and thank him for his service, but he really wants to coin the phrase, never forget. And we're just grateful for the freedoms we have, and I wanted to thank them for that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Chief. Next up, Public Works Director Wendell Walters.
Good evening, Council. Some updates on your utility departments. First good news is we received our community crossing grant for 2018 in the amount of $193,735. So that money will go towards next year's work, and working with Jacob, we're laying out our 2019 projects and bring them back to you for review. Another good thing is we're doing our light bulb replacement on Main Street, the roundabout, and 10th Street. These are fixtures that the town owns. We had a rebate program with IPL, so we went after that, working with Monty, he got us some financing. So this project's going to cost us about $8,000, but we saved $5,000 the first year in just utility use, cost of operating those lights. So it's a good program. You notice they will be working the next 2 weeks. They got a lot of them done today on Main Street. So if you're driving through, you'll see better lighting from just what we've got installed now. So a good program. And thanks to Rob for chasing those rebates down for us. You see out at Crawfordsville and High School Road, there's some work activity going on out there with DPW, the Indy DPW. They're adding a lane to the westbound. We're seeing a problem that the traffic backs up almost to Cunningham in the evenings and stuff. So they've identified that if we take out the right turn lane north on High School Road and add that as a 3-lane, that it should relieve that traffic. And I think Jacob sent out a notice on it and stuff to give you an idea of what's going on. And then we get our turn lane that we've been waiting on getting painted for quite a while. It's on that project also. And you'll see signs overhead at Cunningham right now. All the markings are not on the street yet, so everybody use caution out through there until the markings show up to direct everybody to where they need to be. So hopefully weather will break here a little bit and they can get the striping down out there. Just some reports on the departments. You noticed that up here at 16th and Lyndhurst, 1609 Lyndhurst, we had the street tore up for a little bit. We found when that property come back online, it had been abandoned during all the construction period, that contractor had crushed a lateral. So we had to identify it, dig it up. The contractor is totally responsible. He's taken responsibility of it. So all the buildings and everything will go back to that contractor, and he'll get things settled up with the property owner and us. Also, up in Eileen's district, we had a little sinkhole that developed, and that was due to MCI fiber that bored through there and didn't get their compaction back correctly. So we have it all put back together. We're waiting on the asphalt to get milled out and put back, and there's still a plate, but it's all usable, so no lane closures there. And thank you for your help that afternoon, or that evening, with the cone and stuff being out there. And then on the wastewater side, they got their boiler all repaired. Norm's bugs are happy now. They have heat, so they're working better, being more productive. Also, Norm did a stormwater review on the Wilshire area, this small parking area, the triangle we call it over there. So that will start moving forward too with the other projects going on in that area. And then on the water side, we've had a couple main breaks already. In the last month, they were repaired under pressure with no major issues, no shutdowns. So everything went pretty good on that. They're going through their well maintenance and inspections, getting things ready to winterize and shut down some operations there. So just real quick, catch you up, and if there's any questions or concerns.
Did have one question on the light improvements on Main Street.
Yes, sir.
So those, just want to make sure I understand. So the lights that were put in when we redesigned and rebuilt Main Street, they were probably not high def, is that, or, excuse me, not high def, but
LED.
LED, excuse me.
Right.
So they're now being converted to that?
Yes.
And that's where the savings come from? Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendell. Next up, Parks and Recreation, Tammy Smith.
Good evening. In Parks, our youth basketball program is underway. And I wanted to give like a tree update for the people who had trees planted on September 28th. We're working diligently to get the rest of the stakes and the plaques matched up with the trees, so that should be done soon. And I've had several people call to see if we're still doing that program, and it is an ongoing program. As long as we have space each year, we'll probably have trees that need to come out, so we'll need to replace them. If we ever get to a point where we don't need any to go in a particular year, people will just be put on a waiting list if they want to participate. I am one of the participants in the 9th class of the Citizens Academy, and I wanted to thank the police department for offering that. And I highly encourage residents, anyone involved around Speedway, to take advantage of this opportunity. It's been a joy and an education to see what they go through, and I've really enjoyed it a lot. Thank you for offering that. And I would like to also ask the community to help us keep our parks beautiful. If you see something, say something. We've had a few issues with some vandalism, and if it would be nice if people, maybe they see something that's not quite right, but they don't want to say anything or get involved. That's why the police department has that 311 non-emergency number. So I just like to encourage people to if you see something that just doesn't seem right, go ahead and say something. That would help us out. We all work together to keep our parks nice. And that's all I had today.
Thank you. Thanks, Tammy. Item number 6, report from our town manager, Jacob Blasdel.
Great, thank you, Mr. President. It's my pleasure to finally shed some light on the top secret government work we've been doing here, top secret project no one's known about. So of course I'm talking about acquiring the PNC building at the intersection of Crawfordsville and Lyndhurst. Now of course we've had a lot of public discussion about it. And I'm happy to confirm that it actually has happened. We have officially closed on it last week, issued a press release this afternoon. There's obviously, like I said, been a lot of public conversations, and the project has felt like it was running off the rails more than a couple of times, like a lot of real estate transactions do. I know the rumor's been out there that we had acquired it a long time ago, and many times I would hear that and wish that had been the case, but knew that there was still a lot of road left in front of us. But we've acquired it, and it's a very exciting project. We're of course going to consolidate all of our administrative offices in that building. So what we have here at Town Hall, as well as the annex that's in the shopping center that we're leasing, all that gets consolidated together. We're looking at bringing the police department in and getting them the space and facilities that they've needed for a very long time. We're also partnering with the schools to put some of their administrative offices in there and free up some space in the high school. And then we want to have some community space in that building. We've got a lot of square footage. It's deceptively big when you get in there. I think we're going to find a lot of uses for it, but there's certainly some room for some community space, which I know a lot of people have wanted for a very long time. So it is going to consolidate things. It's going to be great from a customer service perspective. I mean, you'll be able to go to one place and get your permit, pay your water bill, talk to the police department about concerns you have, complain to Wendell about sidewalk or a pothole, tell Tim where he's wrong on some of his redevelopment projects, and then stop by the town manager's office to tell him to keep up the good work. I think it's all in one trip to Speedway Town Hall. So it is exciting. And in all seriousness, it is going to improve customer service, not just, I think, directly on the front end of what's obvious to residents, but also behind the scenes. We spend a lot of time driving back and forth, having phone conversations, and then, I'll come over there, we'll talk about it. Monty, if I do that, we did it today, in fact. So it's going to cut down on some of that. It's going to bring everybody together. So it's exciting, and we're going to bring in an architect that can help us kind of figure out the right way to lay things out and improve that building, make sure it's going to be functional for us for the next 50-plus years. So it's exciting. Appreciate everyone's patience. I know, like I said, the rumor's been out there for a while, and we've been working on it, but I can finally confirm that it's a done deal, so we're excited. And maybe less popular news, Wendell already touched on a little bit, but the intersection at Crawfordsville and High School, there are some changes. I think people are excited about the painting of lines for the turn lanes. Not quite as thrilled with that westbound right lane becoming right and through. Right now it's a right turn only, and I live in the northwest part of town, and so I've always liked having that dedicated right lane as I went buzzing by all the people going through. That intersection is controlled by Indianapolis DPW, so their interest is getting people through and doing it as efficiently as possible. So that is a change that they want to make, and I understand it. It also, I've had a lot of people, you see a lot of people that either intentionally go up and then want to get over, or oops, maybe they forgot that that's a right turn only and then they need to get over. So that's created some less than safe situations for folks, not to mention that they get through and then they need to merge right again. So I just respect what Indianapolis is doing, but it wasn't necessarily our call, as sometimes those aren't. But appreciate the concern there. Just know that I'm impacted by it as well. So it's sometimes those things happen. I also want to thank everybody that came out for the War Memorial dedication yesterday. It was really nice. A lot of veterans came out. Really nice ceremony. There's still, as Steve said at the dedication, there's still a little bit of work to do. But he and that committee have done a great job with that project. Very cool to have that right on Main Street. And then, last but not least, we're expecting snow, I think, tonight, Wendell. Just want to mention, just the early reminder, this is going to be the first time, I think, this year that we've had anybody really on duty and ready to go. But when we do see potential snow, in the forecast, we will have somebody on duty monitoring the situation and can call out more folks depending on if it gets worse or better than we expected. I think tonight the ground is still kind of warm. We're not really expecting too much, but we've got the trucks are converted. They've got the salt beds on them. They're ready to go. So just want folks to, when you see them on the road, just a reminder, to kind of stay out of the truck's way as much as possible. Slow down, give them room to operate and keep our roads safe. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yes, question. So the weather events that you described in our staff, are they just simply shifting their hours from their normal?
They'll shift some around, but of course, if we have an event, we're calling folks in, then that will accumulate over time.
Okay.
But we try to do a little bit of shifting, but sometimes if there's an event,
Right.
we need to get folks out.
Thank you. Item number 7, report from our town attorney, Bob Clutter.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Bob. Item number 8, report from our council members. First up, Eileen Fisher.
I would just like to thank those who did show up yesterday for the War Memorial groundbreaking. Ended up being a halfway decent day. A little cool, but the sun was out, and we had quite a few attended, so it was very nice. So, and thank you to Steve Ersman for continuing his work on getting that accomplished for us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Jason Delisle.
Nothing for me this evening.
Councilor Gary Rakes.
Just to echo thoughts and comments that others have made. Certainly want to thank the veterans that we have in our country. There's about 20 to 21 million veterans still alive that have served our country. That's like 1.3% of our population. So think about, we have a volunteer force that goes out and literally puts themselves in harm's way. It's pretty amazing that people are willing to do that. So I thank them. And then to echo Eileen's, Steve Ersman and others that have served on this committee for a few years to first raise monies, not just raise awareness, but raise monies, and to continue the work. It'll be an ongoing process, and took big steps yesterday to get this War Memorial open, and I know there's additional plans for that committee to continue adding to it, and I'm excited and proud of and appreciative of their work. So that's it.
Thank you, Gary. Vice President David Lindsay.
Nothing to report this evening.
All right. Only thing that I've got is I'd like to piggyback off on what Jacob said at the PNC building. It's going to improve the level of efficiency, not just how the town government works and the different departments, but it's going to be a more efficient way of how we spend our money. So, we've got a lease payment over at the shopping center that is, it's a necessary evil at the moment, but, in a couple of years, we won't have that. So we'll have a new space for several people to enjoy and the community to enjoy as well. So I want to thank Jacob, Bob for working hard on it as well. So it's a good thing for all of us. So with that, I will call this meeting adjourned at 7:28.